It takes a second. Or
There
two,
we
or
go.
three. Takes a few seconds. We're
Takes
a little
a few seconds.
slow.
Boom. There we go. All right. There we got red right now. Look at this.
Okay, so the internet's been
Okay.
working all day, and now we're gonna go yucky when we first kick in. That's not really good.
That's not good. Okay, looks like it's all kind of coming together right now.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. I trust that everybody is doing well tonight.
Our first time back in, I don't even know how long.
No,
Seems like we've missed our live stream so much.
No, we just missed a week, that's all.
Yeah, but it feels like a long time.
I know it, but the weather, we couldn't help it with the weather we was having. Did we miss one during the hurricane too?
Yep.
Okay, maybe we missed a couple of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I missed the live streams.
Ah, yeah. Hello, everybody.
I think you said that.
Well, hello. Just checking out all the people that's jumping in here. I see the Music Well, Goss Mania, two of our moderators have in.
Yeah. See a Country Homestead
Wanda, your
Preacher.
hair is long and pretty, they said. And there comes Country Homestead Preacher and them in.
Well, it's going to get trimmed or cut shortly. It's too thick. I don't like it when it's thick, and so it'll get cut again shortly, so it'll thin down.
Yeah, we both just ran in the house here and jumped in the shower, took a quick shower, and jumped out. And, we're just trying to get relaxed for a moment.
Carrie is from Arcata, California.
California.
I think that's what I'm reading.
My first live with y'all.
How come I don't have this up big like I usually do? Now,
I do not know. Here we go.
Hold on, guys.
Hold on just a minute. Let Miss Wanda.
I knew I couldn't read the chat for some reason.
Yeah, I was even having worse trouble than you were.
And so I was going, okay, what's wrong? We have to have a pop-out chat so it's big enough that we can see.
Well, it don't look like it's popping out right now.
Give it time. Give it
time. We're waiting. Come on,
now,
there we go.
There we go. All right.
Now.
We got everybody coming in. Now we can see y'all's.
I can actually see what y'all are writing.
Yeah.
Now.
So I see Richard says,
there's
howdy,
D.
and Miss D says howdy.
Yeah.
A lot of people joining us, and we just, I don't know.
Today and yesterday,
for a long time.
Actually, since the storms come in, we've just been busting it.
Way before we were getting ready. Then when it kind of bypassed us, and then the next storm bypassed us, we didn't even put the swings or anything back up.
No, the swing on the front porch, is it still down?
It's still down.
We didn't even put it back up yet. Yeah.
Because every time we think about putting it up, they'll say there's another storm out in the Gulf. So we just left it. We don't sit on the porch on the swing that much. We go down to the pier now. And so it's just been sitting.
Yeah.
And
stuff is still, the rocking chairs are still laying on their side on the porch.
They really are.
I know. We haven't picked up anything. We've just been, what it was is Lance dug the front pond for me. And he left me this huge pile of dirt. And we need the dirt in different places on our property, so I've been having to transport it from the front pond to the different locations around, putting it in the gardens, getting it ready to till in, filling in the low spots on our property back here. We got a swampy area, kind of filling it in back there, trying to make some level pasture land over where it's been boggy and wet. And finally today, I actually got it all moved today.
And I took a picture, but I forgot to put it up.
Oh, I thought you was going to put that up.
I was.
Oh, well, anyway. We got it planted back with grass, and it's all nothing but dirt right now, but we got some grass seeds in it, so hopefully within the next couple...
Deep South Gathering Place, Deep South Homestead Gathering Place on Facebook. That's our private group over there. I'll probably throw that picture over there tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'll do that because I really, I might have thrown it on Patreon earlier. If I didn't, I'll probably put it on Patreon tonight.
Yeah.
And over in the group maybe tomorrow or something. Because it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Get that huge big pile of
Plus
dirt.
all the timber that he had piled up there. Yeah, I got all the timber cut up. I got it all moved out of there. I got all the sticks.
And then he went in the rain. It actually drizzled for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he went and planted the grass.
I planted the grass in the rain today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it quit.
I tilled it. I tilled it in the rain and planted the grass in the rain. And as soon as I got through it, quit. Yeah.
And it turned hot. And
then it turned over really hot. Yeah.
Humid.
It It was really nice this morning, though. It was
It
very
was,
cool.
I got a lot done. I got the
Got the
carrot
carrot
bed
bed ready.
done.
Yeah.
I didn't get it planted. I got it done. I pulled weeds in several places, and I pulled weeds in the front and made it look nice, and done a couple of short videos. What else did I do?
I don't know. I was just on the tractor for like 8 hours. I don't know. And I actually finished laying the tile in my bathroom in the cabin today.
Yes,
We had
that's
some very tedious.
great.
Wanda and I went over and we took the toilet out and set it in her bedroom and got it all cleaned up. And I actually had to cut the tile around where the toilet flange was and where the water line come up through the floor and all. We got all that cut. It's all laid. Now we're just waiting for it to dry so we can grout it.
Yeah. So, and Monday was my birthday, but Danny let me over the weekend. We were over at the cabin working, and we stayed over there, what, maybe 3 days?
I think we stayed 3 days.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And he let me just sit and chill and not do anything all week. I came over here and would cook and things like that. But actually working, I didn't do anything for like 3 days.
Right.
Except read. And I finished Jeff Moat's book.
Yeah.
It's a series of 3 books. And I'd read the other 2. I started in March reading his books. I read one, and then during the summer I read the second one. I've been waiting to read the third one. I hadn't had time. So Danny allowed me time, and I'm finished with those 3, and hopefully a review over on Crazy Days, a book review.
Cul-de-sac Grocery Garden says, Denny, is your right eye okay? Yes, my eye is fine. Guys, I've been going since 4 o'clock this morning and nonstop. And I'm just tired.
His eye gets weak.
When I get really, really tired, my eye gets kind of bloodshot. And plus, I've been hauling dirt all day, so I mean, I probably got dirt. I've been cutting tile, putting down tile. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff been getting in my eye. And plus, my right eye, I burned it one time. I did 40 hours of welding nonstop. I didn't stop to go home or nothing. I had a huge staircase that had to be welded up to way up in the sky, up in this building up there, and it had to be done by a certain time. So I spent 40 hours on a welder, literally nonstop, other than to just stop and get something to drink or grab a sandwich, all the way through the night, all into the next day, and all the way in through the next night. I just did nothing but weld, and when I did, it burnt my right eye, and now I have what's called a dry eye. And I don't worry with keeping drops because normally it doesn't bother me that bad, but when I do spend a lot of time out in the wind and it's dry like it is now, my right eye will get bloodshot on me.
Thank you guys for that birthday wishes. Yeah, it was great just to sit and chill because I love to read and I love a good book. And so that's something that I don't get to do very often. And when I do get to do it, Danny knows I'm into the book.
Oh, yeah.
He says something to me, I don't even pay him any attention. Yeah. I have read since I was a little kid, and I went to the library for the first time when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I actually worked in the library in 7th and 8th grade in the school library. And then in the 9th and 10th grade, I worked in the public library during the summers. And so I've always loved the library, loved books, and I always wanted to write a book. I thought I was going to get to, and somebody makes me work all the time. I can't write a book.
We got time. The Bible says, well, I'm not going to go into that. We'll talk about that later. Me also, Never Alone says at 4 a.m. I mean, that's my time of the morning. That's whenever I get up. I usually get up before then, but by 5, I've got breakfast started. And we're eating by 5:30 usually, and by 6:30 I'm usually out in the barn feeding the cows. It's still dark. I go ahead and get them fed and get out of the barn, get the tractor cranked up, and have everything ready to go.
Yeah. So tonight we wanted to talk a little bit about nature.
Nature, yes.
So that's something that we've been observing a lot with the ponds and stuff. Watching the pond come together, watching the animals start to live and sink in
Hmm.
the pond and things like that. And yes, some of them eat others, and that's just
Hey, that's just
life.
it's yeah, it's
We
just a
have a lot of people want to comment about, like the minnows, something eat the bass eating the minnows. That's why we put the minnows in the pond was for the bass. I mean,
yeah.
that's what you
That's
do,
what you do. I mean,
you
it's a
know.
food chain. You got people, you got animals that are way up on the food chain. You got animals that are way down on the food chain. You have animals that have eyes in front of their head. They're predators. You have animals that have eyes on the sides of their head. They're the prey. So you have to, you just have to understand that nature, only the strong survive in nature, and it's, it is what it is. And we put some videos up over on Patreon uh, about nature and about what people will be facing, or what people think they're going to be able to do when everything collapses and falls in. They go, well, I'm gonna go to the woods and I'm gonna harvest me an animal. And over on Patreon, I show an animal. Wanda and I were sitting in the cabin, and she goes, "What is that in the yard?" And I looked out the window, and it was a squirrel
Mhm.
eat up with warbles. I mean, he just literally didn't hardly have any hair on his body whatsoever. I mean, he was in really, really bad shape. I ran out the door. He ran up the tree and started running through the tree. I pulled my pistol out and shot him right through the top of the head, and where it wouldn't mess him up. And then we took him. We did a video about how bad even the diseases and stuff like that are hitting the animals. The chronic wasting disease that's hitting the deer, all this kind of stuff. Leprosy's in the armadillos, and all these kind of things that are happening. People are not going to be able to go out and do what they think they're going to be able to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that was the reason behind it was this squirrel probably would have gotten
it
better,
would have probably lived, but it was in such
but
bad shape.
oh wow, TC, thank
TC
you.
Games.
He says, Wanda hit your eye because you didn't do something right. Laugh out loud. Happy birthday, Wanda. Thank you,
Okay,
TC.
somebody figured it out. I mean, I tried to make up a story. No,
No,
not really.
actually, if anybody gets hit, it's going to be me because I'm the clumsy one. And he can be holding a board, and I'm going to walk around it, and I'm going to run right into it.
she'll
It's going to
run.
hit my arm. It's going to hit my body somewhere.
She'll run smack
I
dab
can
into it.
walk through the door, and if the door's not open all the way, my hip is going to catch the doorknob every time. He hears me holler throughout the house all the time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. But
Hello, Jen.
if I take and start doing something, I can start walking and I'm going to hit something. I'm
Yeah.
just the clumsiest. He tells me he's never seen anybody so clumsy. But thank you, TC. That would be
Uh,
awesome.
is that Samia? I
Where?
found a big box of garlic. Have a green plant with really a good price. Can I plant it? Yes, you can. If it's starting to sprout and come up, yes, you can. By all means, you can plant it.
Yeah, the first frost would have killed the old wolves. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we wanted to show people what it looked like because the average person does not know what wolves look like.
right. They don't know what the world
It
looks
wasn't
like.
necessarily that we needed to get him out, but we
He was
didn't.
really in bad
He was in
shape.
bad
This
shape.
one was bad. We show a picture of him over on Patreon, and we tell people it's a little bit graphic.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to look at it, you don't have to. But I just wanted people to be aware of what happens to animals in the
Yeah, you don't want to
summertime.
eat it during the summer. You would rather not. I mean, you can. Danny and I talked about that. If you're hungry, you could.
Well,
Um,
and two, rabbits carry a disease in the summertime. You don't want to eat them until after you've had a couple of good frosts and freezes. I mean, it's you have to be really cautious about nature because nature is not always healthy. And today, in the world that we live in, nobody wants to shoot anything. Nobody wants to take anything out. And there has to be a balance because if you don't, uh, things get overpopulated, and when animals get overpopulated, disease takes them out. It just happens. I mean,
mhm.
we've had blue tongue here go through the deer and stuff like that. I killed a deer one time that had it. I killed a deer one time that had lungworms in it. I mean, it doesn't hurt the animal as far as being able to eat it, but it's just these are parasites that are in these animals' bodies, and you need to be aware of the
Yeah.
types of parasites that's in animals' bodies. You know, I mean, well, before you eat them.
Yeah, and that was our whole purpose, because we want to teach people things when we see an opportunity. And
Right.
so tonight, off and on, Danny's just going to talk about some of the things that he thinks about when he's in the woods, things that even I don't know, but I'm learning. I'm learning
Yeah.
from him, you know.
I mean, there's lots of things. I mean, we'll start off here. I'll show y'all a couple of pictures. I mean, here, Wanda and I, y'all have to understand, Wanda and I love wildlife. We love to watch wildlife. We love to take pictures of wildlife. We have cameras set up. We put corn out so that we can see what kind of wildlife comes out at night, and we love to just watch things. But now, there are some things that we put corn out so that we can find out exactly what's on the place, and then we have to start trapping stuff. Because if you have too many possums and too many coons and stuff like that, too many foxes, they will get your chickens and stuff like that. So you have to eradicate these animals in order to have a successful homestead. Now I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. This is one we put some cameras out because we always do it this time of the year to see what we have. And
that.
I couldn't hear what you saying.
Okay.
Okay. Here we have a mama coon and her babies. They were visiting a persimmon tree we had on the property here, and I told Wanda, I said, well, we have a family that's moved in here, because every year I usually eradicate all the coons off our property. And because there's 7,000 acres of woods behind us, they just always keep coming back. So we found out that we now have a mama coon and her babies. There's a young family of them started here. There they are again. We took a couple of pictures of them there.
You see the eyes, they're noticing something coming. That's what we always look on the trail cam to see is, you know, when they start turning their heads and we know something else is approaching.
Yeah. And then I think we got one or two more pictures of them here. There is another picture of them.
She noticed the camera.
She notices the cameras.
Yeah, coming from this direction.
She notices the camera's on. Animals have a very distinct way of knowing. Look at her. See, she knows she's protecting those babies. She's staying guard while the babies are just playing. They don't even know anything's going on. But Mama knows, and Mama is always aware of what's going on. Now we call them the bandits because they wear a mask. You know, their eyes has this little mask on them, so we call them a bandit. And they will rob and steal. They will do anything that they can do. They will literally destroy your fruit trees. I mean, they'll eat all of your fruit.
Chickens.
They'll eat your chickens. I mean, they are very destructive. They'll clean up all your cornfields.
Oh yeah.
You know, they wiped my cornfield out one year.
Danny was fixing to harvest his Danny corn one year when it was down in the field where the cows are now. And he went out there one evening, he looked, he said, I think tomorrow we're going to get up and harvest that corn. He said, it's dry enough. We got up the next morning, he come in, he went out and he come back in. He went out again. I heard him down there. He was on a tractor, just bush hogging up a storm. And he come back in. I said, what in the world? He said, the coons got every piece of corn. I mean,
they ate a field. They ate every ear.
And we probably had, what, 1,000 or 2,000?
Oh, there were several thousand ears of corn in that field, and they ate every one of them.
So it wasn't just one. It was a whole, like, bunches of them. Ate every piece of corn that year. And he just bush hogged it down. He was so mad.
Yeah.
But something that most people don't know. Wanda used to collect figurines of raccoons. I loved raccoons. When I was a kid, we saw a video, and some of y'all may remember it. Walt Disney put it out, and it was raccoons, and they were in and out of the house. It showed them in cute, you know, doing all kinds of cute stuff, being a little mischievous, yes, but as a kid, you thought that was cute. And so I collected up until just a couple of years before Danny and I got married. I got rid of all my figurines that were raccoons. I used to collect anything with a raccoon on it.
So anyway, you know, the raccoons are one of the predator problems that we have here on our homestead. And luckily, every year I've been able to eradicate most of them. I mean, we'll take out every one of them that comes in. If I can't trap him in a live trap to permanently relocate him, then I will put a steel trap out and eradicate him that way. Because I have had them tear my live traps up and literally tear them up.
Yeah, one year we did.
One year we had one tear a live trap all to pieces. He tore it up 3 different times, and I said, well, I got a remedy for that, and I put a steel trap out and caught him by his leg, and he was.
Jennifer said the stuffed coon you have.
Oh, I have a stuffed raccoon in the barn out there.
We do.
Yeah.
He does. Danny used to have a lot of things.
I had a lot of things mounted at one time.
Yeah.
But and then coons are not the only thing that that we watch for, guys. Here's another one. Here's a few things here. We have a camera set up by our fence because this comes off of the 7,000 acres onto our property here, and we set a camera up on the other side of the fence, and the deer will come up to the fence and they just look because they wait for us to go to bed, really. And as soon as we go to bed, they jump the fence, and come in, and they can do some damage now. They literally can clean up a place in just a matter of a little while. But the thing about it is, Wanda and I haven't actually taken a deer in several years now?
More than 2 years.
Been a couple of years since we've taken a deer. So. The thing about it is, even though they do a little damage, we really don't shoot them. I mean,
we like to watch them.
We love to watch them.
As long as they're not bothering. It's probably been 2 years or better since they've really done any damage.
They haven't really done any damage at all. They'll start popping back up this time of the year, and they'll go in and they'll nibble on. We got acorns everywhere, so they come for the persimmons and they come for the acorns and stuff like that. And right now they're nibbling on the top of the sweet potato vines, which is okay because we're fixing to cut them up anyway and feed them all to the cows. We're not minding that. We just like to watch them on the camera. Here's one right here. She walked out, and when the camera went off, she's like, "Uh-oh, what is that?"
No,
don't do that. Don't pick a time.
I don't want to pick a time. I just want it to go away.
Just okay.
We're good.
We had something pop up on our screen here that we don't want to do right now.
Now, we usually have deer just about every year. The first 2 or 3 years Danny and I were married, and we did take a deer with the crossbow. I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we did take one with the crossbow.
And then last year, somebody gave us some deer meat, and we had our beef and stuff. So when we have plenty of meat, we don't worry about it.
Yeah, we don't take them.
So this year, we would like to be able to take one, and Danny usually picks and chooses.
I do. I'm very selective. It has to be a deer that that's a particular deer before I'll actually take it out. But we've got another one here.
That's the one on the side of the fence. On the fence.
Something's coming up behind it there, and you know how even though it's dark, they still sense whenever something is coming up behind them. They know. Now, Wanda, I tried to get Wanda to put the big bucks on here, but she had them over on a hard drive.
And I couldn't find my pictures.
And she couldn't find her pictures on the hard drive because we have some really nice bucks in here.
Yeah, these were the ones that's been out recently.
Yeah, these are just old does. They come in. Most of them have little ones, and we don't want to mess with them, because they have babies. Because the babies can't jump the fence. The babies always stay on the other side of the fence. And what we do is we let the mamas come over and eat, and we don't really mind it. I mean, it's not a
as long as they're not eating our stuff. And so far, they've been really, really good about not damaging anything. So far, the deer have been. We have to say we've had a good luck for about 3 or 4 years. I guess.
We've had pretty good luck with them. I mean, occasionally we will, if we get like. This here is actually a different deer. I can look at the body on it and tell this is actually a different deer. Here, we have several of them that visit the property, on a regular basis. But anyway, you have to understand, I've taken 70, let's see, I took 73 deer with a with a bow. I've killed one with a crossbow. That was my first one to kill with an actual crossbow. I've killed hundreds with the gun. uh, because I was a shooter for 9 years, and long distance shooting for me was nothing, and I got where shooting a deer with a rifle really wasn't a challenge for me anymore, because it didn't matter if he's 500, 600, 800 yards out there. It didn't matter. I could still take him, and it just got to where it wasn't even a challenge anymore. So I took up archery, and archery was really the love of my life for years and years. And I killed 73 with a bow, like I said. But then I tore the rotator cuff in my shoulder, and now I cannot pull the bow back anymore. So we had gotten a crossbow from Scratch Made Homestead. It had a crank on it, so you could crank it back and cock it. We didn't have to actually pull it back. And they allowed us to use it for a few years, and we killed the one deer with it, and it let us know that it's probably something that we want to invest in the future.
We plan on, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it made it easy for me too.
Yeah, Wanda could shoot it.
Even though I haven't shot a deer, at some point I would love to be able to. I love watching them. So that's what Danny and I have our heart set on this year, is being able to watch the deer outside the cabin windows.
Yeah.
That's why we have the big window and things like that over there. We want to be in there, have a fire going, and sit and see the deer outside. So that's part of it.
Now, guys, you have to understand, in South Mississippi, we don't have a lot of deer. I've hunted all up north, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, all those places up in the northeastern part of the United States. And up there, it's nothing to see 15, 20, 30 deer in an afternoon. Down here, if a deer sticks his head out of the woods, one of these rednecks is going to shoot him. It don't matter what time of the year it is. So you don't see deer down here hardly in the daylight at all. Most of them are at night.
Now we have, about 3-4 years ago, Danny was working on a tractor.
Yeah.
And from where he was standing, he looked down to our oak trees, probably 100?
No, probably 50 yards.
50 yards?
Yeah.
Wasn't very far. And there's this big, huge buck that we know is here, standing out there, and he can't get to the house.
Yeah, I didn't have a gun with me. I didn't have a bow and nothing. He just
had
knew
to
that.
watch him.
I just had to watch him walk off. There was nothing I could do.
But deer is something in the woods. But to hunt a deer, how hard is it to walk in the woods and find a deer?
It depends on what part of the country you live in. Yeah. When I went up north and was hunting in like Connecticut or New York or Massachusetts, all these places up in there, I could take a deer just like snapping your fingers, because the woods are really open. The deer up there are not like they are down here. They're not scared and spooky and all that stuff like they are here. But you come to the south down here where it's nothing but weeds and bushes and briars. It's very difficult to walk into the woods and actually kill a deer in his own territory. I used to pride myself in how close I could get up on a deer to be able to take him. And I have actually taken deer as close as 6 feet from me. So it's very tough in the southern part of the United States.
Yeah.
And some people, like up north, I shot video one afternoon up north that I still have. I saw more deer in one evening than most people see in a year down here. I mean, that's just how plentiful they were.
Donnie says he's already killed 3.
3 with a bow this year. All right. Yeah. 9 is my record. I killed 9 one year with a bow, and that's the best I've ever done. It was just a fantastic year that year.
And the turkeys, we used to, when I first came out here, all this that we just turned into a pond was still kind of wooded. It was still kind of growed up. There were no pigs in there and nothing. It was just grass and weeds.
Just grass mainly, yeah.
And I was here one afternoon, and I walked by a window and looked out, and there were turkeys standing all in the yard, just everywhere. And I just stood there and watched them. and he had went outside to do something. He came back in, and I said, "Oh, you ought to have seen there were 5 turkeys in the backyard walking around." He said, "Why didn't you call me?" I said, "Because I just wanted to watch them."
Yeah, and we've always had lots of turkeys here up until
2 years ago.
probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and now they've just all disappeared.
And we think we know why, because show them go up to the next, not those, but go on up. And we think we know why, because we started having this little fella.
This little fella right here started showing up.
About 2 years ago when we started the cabin, him and a mate showed up all the time, but we've not met the mate yet this year.
We hadn't seen it this year, but it's here. I'm sure it's here somewhere.
So this one is roaming, and Danny knows 2 years ago we had turkeys, and he walked into the field and he saw a mom on a nest, so he just left her. And about 2 days later, her and the nest was
gone. And now on the camera, this is what we have showing up here. Now this is a little gray fox. He's popped up here. Been here for a couple of years now. I think this year we're going to go ahead and take him out because I'm thinking he's getting. We don't have Hank around anymore, and without a dog, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to come up to the chicken pen, and he's going to want to try to probably mess with the chickens. So I'm probably going to end up having to take him out.
Yeah, so far we've just been watching him.
Yeah. Actually, he came all the way up to me one day in the daylight hours. I was standing by a tree over there, and he actually came out of the woods, and one of the pigs grunted, and it spooked him, and he stopped like 10 feet from me and just was looking back at the pigs, and all of a sudden he turned around and realized I was standing there, and boy, he was like a streak of light then. But
he was gone.
If I was going to kill him, I would have killed him then, but now we're going to have to eradicate him, because we don't have a dog.
Yeah, but we've known the fox were here, 2 of them, for 2 years, and they haven't messed with anything. And like I said, we don't like to mess with anything till it is time to do something, if it's bothering something.
Yeah.
Now, coyotes is a different story.
Now, coyotes, I take out every coyote I see, literally.
Yeah. Danny shot one from. You were here on the carport?
I was on the carport, and I shot him all the way in the back pasture back there.
Yeah.
He was running. Wanda saw him coming across one field, this field over to the north of us. I ran in the house, got my rifle, and by the time I got to the carport, I knew where he was going. And I knelt down and waited, and when he hit that field running in the back there, I just cut him down, and we got rid of him.
And we haven't seen any since. The coyotes.
Yeah. We hadn't seen any more coyotes.
We hear them way off in another neighbor's back.
We ain't seen any on the cameras or anything like that. I killed out all the wild hogs here. Several years ago, we had wild pigs, and I literally went on a vengeance and killed every one of them out. And we haven't had another pig back now. And well, since me and you've been married, we haven't had a hog in 7 or 8 years now.
It's been long. You haven't had any since I've been here.
So, and it was 2 years before then I didn't have any. So 7, 8, 9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We haven't had any come back.
Saltine says you get paid $25 per coyote you shoot around there.
Well, see, guys, I used to trap and sell the hides and stuff like that. And that gray fox right there, back in the day, would have brought me, if I'd got the hide off of him, would have brought me about $80, between $75 and $80 if I didn't have any holes in him. And so that, and the bobcats, they would bring me around $75 to $80 if a skin was good. Coons wasn't very much; it was like $15. Minks were pretty decent, stuff like that. But I don't trap anymore, so I don't.
Yeah, you haven't trapped in what, 20 years?
I hadn't trapped in a long time. But we do have one funny looking little picture here. We caught one of our little critters right here going up the tree. The camera actually snapped him while he was climbing the persimmon tree to get him a persimmon. Now, it's a big old coon, and it looks like a boar coon, to be honest with you. He's headed up that tree to get him a nice little sweet snack of persimmons.
Yeah. And so far this year, we can say the coons and possums haven't really messed
They
with
haven't
anything.
messed with anything this year.
Usually they hit our pear trees, they hit our scuppernons and muscadines. This year, nothing touched nothing.
Nothing.
And we were really shocked.
Except my pecan tree now. The squirrels got my pecans.
Yeah, now he's not happy.
I'm not happy about that.
Squirrels. So,
but let's see. You got one more picture of deer here. What is this one? Okay, this is another one in a different location.
Yeah,
we got several cameras set up, and this has got a deer from a different location.
And I thought I put the squirrels somewhere, but I don't know where they're at.
There is probably there somewhere. Let me see here.
I don't remember.
There it is.
I only did one.
You only did one? Okay. And guys, lots of times we'll pour corn out in front of the cabin where we can actually just watch the wildlife because we love to watch them.
Yeah.
And Wanda did that here. I poured some corn out in front of the cabin, and I want you to look here what shows up. There's 4.
I think actually there was 5 or 6 before it was over and done with.
Yeah.
But we would sit there and watch them, and this was actually on a video. I had to take a snapshot out of a video, but we watched that one area for about 2 hours, and the squirrels kept coming in and out. He's fixing to show you the birds here, and another shot. We had 2 different places, the birds coming out in 2 different spots, and it's just amazing to me to know how many birds we have. It is something.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, do we have any bear? The Game and Fish Commission have turned loose, I think, 35 bear in our area down here. I have not physically myself seen one here. My neighbor to the north of me has seen one in his yard. My neighbor behind me here, Paul, he has seen one on the road out here. My neighbor that was an elderly lady that used to walk on the road, she saw one crossing the road one day. But me personally, I have not seen a bear here yet. One showed up in our town here, Wiggins. The guy that pumps our gas for us, Mr. Danzy, it actually was in his yard. He had pictures of it in his yard.
And one of the ladies we used to go to church with, one would come on her back porch all the time, and she would post on Facebook every time it would come on her back porch. You just walk around on her porch a while and walk off.
Walk off. That's Miss Pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But here we go. The squirrels, and that's one thing we do feed them. Because when we feed them, we've learned it keeps them out of everything else. It keeps them from eating our other stuff if we keep them fed back over in the woods.
Yeah.
Because they tend to stay over there rather than coming over and messing up a lot of stuff.
The problem has been over the last few years since I've been here, we had a peach tree on that side of the house over there.
Yeah.
And our porch is here, our back porch. And we could be sitting in the living room looking out the window, and there goes a squirrel with a peach in his mouth, which was a no-no.
That's a no-no here.
And so finally we got that under control. We didn't have much problems with that. And then we lost the peach tree this year, so not a big deal. But the squirrels really hadn't touched anything until about 2 weeks ago. He rides by his pecan tree and he stops and he says, "Whoa, something's wrong."
Something's wrong.
He said, "My pecans are disappearing." And he gets to look, and we found a pecan today in the sugar cane.
We found one today in the sugar cane patch way over yonder next to the greenhouses.
We found them near the pond, all in the grass.
Yep.
Under the tree. They were just knocking them off. They just playing in the tree.
They play and they knock them off. They chew them off. They fall on the ground. They tote them off, and they just leave them laying in places,
So squirrels are one of those, we leave them alone till they mess with something.
Yeah.
And they can be sneaky little devils sometimes, but we have plenty of acorns.
Acorns. We have plenty of acorns.
Yeah, that's usually all they do is eat acorns.
Now we have a hickory nut tree on the back hill back here, and they're working on it hard and heavy.
Yeah.
They'll eat like who is that made that comment there? Midwest Katie says squirrels decimated my raspberry. They will eat your berries. They will eat anything. I mean, literally anything.
I think if we did not have so much variety here, we would have more damage. But since we have such a huge variety of everything, especially nut trees and things like that, they're eating those things and not messing with our gardens as much.
Yeah, we have well, that's one reason we plant so much of everything, because we know the animals are going to mess with them.
And
Now,
that's why we put all the extra oak trees and things a
yeah,
couple of years ago, hoping to have more of a variety than we have.
they do. Now, here, these are what's called mourning doves. They literally, we love to watch the doves. Now, a lot of people hunt them and they eat them, and I have in the past, I'm not going to lie. But right now we don't have to have them, so we love to watch the doves. We put some corn out on the ground for them and set the camera up so we can watch them fly in, and we can get pictures of them. We can sit in the cabin. We can watch them actually eat the corn. And sometimes this is just a very small patch of them. Sometimes there will be literally lots more there than that. Uh, Here, it's amazing in nature how all the birds seem to get along. Here we have the doves, and we have a blue jay that's decided to join in. And they don't run him off or anything like that. They
No.
all share. They don't try to hoard the food up.
And that was the same with the raccoons, the
Yep.
possums, and the deer. We've noticed the fox. I mean,
And the fox, yeah.
the fox. We have, and I didn't have any pictures to show you because we kind of deleted them. They were kind of blurry. But the fox, the raccoon, and a possum all at one time eating their.
They sit right. They
tree.
sit right at the persimmon tree, and they all eat together. Not one of them doesn't try to run the other one off. I mean, it's really amazing to watch. Let's see, what did you put here? And then we looked out, and there was like 3 blue jays and 2 doves left, and I was like, wow.
You don't usually see them all.
You don't usually see them all together like that, but blue jays can be very cordial, even though they're a very manipulative bird. They will destroy everything they can get. They will eat the eggs out of other birds' nests. They'll eat all your corn off of the stalks in the fields. I mean, they're thieves. They steal stuff.
But they're a pretty bird.
They're a beautiful bird, though. I mean, they're actually what's called a songbird, and they are a beautiful bird to just sit and watch. But they usually are a bully, though.
Is this the next one, or is that the same one?
Oh, I don't remember if I was on that one or not. No, that's the same one.
Same one.
And then here, the cardinals. Now, you have to learn what time of the day everything takes place. If you notice, you can see the shadows on the ground behind it back there. The cardinal and the thrasher are the 2 last birds in the south you're going to hear in the afternoon. If you're sitting up in a tree stand hunting, you will hear the redbirds go to chirping, and when the redbirds quit chirping and quieten down, then you'll hear the thrashers start thrashing, and then when the thrashers start thrashing and get quiet, you can just rest assured that's when the animals are going to begin to move.
And then let's see.
Now this here, with the mourning doves that's actually there, this is what we call a sap soaker.
This is what destroys our trees.
This is what destroys our apple trees. These birds come in here and they peck holes all around our apple trees so that the sap runs out of them. And when the sap runs out of them, little insects get in the sap and they get stuck in it. And these birds keep coming back to the trees and getting the insects out of the sap. And literally, they actually kill our apple trees eventually because they peck them full so many holes in them that disease and decay get started in them. So we try not to, we have to put stuff around our apple trees to keep the sapsuckers from actually from pecking them full of holes.
Somebody was asking, do we have crows? Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah. I shot a crow this week. I'm not sure. Did I just show this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I shot a crow this week. None of my neighbors want to shoot anything. Nope. And as a result of it, I had all the crows here killed out. And because this past year, my neighbors across the road and beside, didn't want to shoot any crows, they raised in their trees. And now we have about 10 that has hatched out and are living here. And I looked out in my pasture the other evening and I saw 2 of them in the pasture. And there's always a centurion that's watching somewhere. And I found him sitting up in the trees, so I slipped around behind something where he couldn't see me. And I shot the ones in the field. And usually now, this was kind of what was unusual. Usually crows will mourn their dead. And I was waiting for them to come back and start flying around them and mourning them, and I was going to take them out. But for some reason this year they didn't come back. That was what was unusual.
Samuel wants to know, Home Depot is selling peach trees 75% discount. Do you think that's good, or would you buy from Gurney's?
I would look at them if they're because they're in pots more than likely, and if they haven't been dried out and they're not root bound or anything like that, and they look pretty good. I would purchase them. I wouldn't have a problem.
I'd always check them on. We check the discount sales of plants lots of times. So yeah.
I actually
pluck up your corn.
Yeah, I shot a crow here several years ago. He was over 100 yards behind the house back here, and I shot him with an air rifle. On top of that, and Wanda was there. She saw I actually killed that crow and pulling up corn in my back pasture back there. I had planted the Danny corn. He was going right down the road. It was about 2 inches tall, and he was going down the road just pulling it up.
Literally.
He would pull it up, and if it had a seed on the bottom of it, he'd eat it. Pull it up, eat the seed. And
we went over there the next day looking, or the day before is why you knew, or something.
Yeah.
And there was little green corn about this long just laying on the ground everywhere. There was no kernels on the bottom.
Right.
It's just a little stalks laying on the ground everywhere. I said, what is happening here? He said, crows.
They're crows. I knew it was crows, so we just patiently waited, and I was able to take him out.
They said crows would eat your pecans too.
Yep, the crows eat the pecans too. That's right. What do I do to keep the sapsuckers out of the trees? You can put wire around the trees. That's usually the best thing to do because the trunk of the tree is what they really mess up. You can put wire around it so that they cannot actually get to it to peck holes in it. As a matter of fact, the power companies do that to the light poles here to keep the woodpeckers from pecking holes in the light poles.
Yeah. So that was all our pictures, right?
Yeah. Crows are known to kill lambs with us. They attack the eyes for the liquid. I've never had a crow actually kill any kind of animal. I know that we got a lot of hawks here, and they'll take out a lot of stuff. I know that.
Yeah, Cul-de-sac says her son's been taking out the crows and squirrels with a paint gun. Oh yeah, I had kids that loved those things too.
Actually, if you freeze those paintballs, they're a lot more dangerous than they are if they're just paintballs. If you freeze them and they're solid, and that thing is just like a regular gun.
Okay, so your son knows a new trick. Thanks to you.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's how you do it.
Oh. Let's see. I put out black plastic or black pipes to keep crows away.
Well, first of all, you have to learn to listen to the wildlife. You have to learn to. I spent so many years in the woods that I learned to actually talk to nature. I can talk to the animals, and I know that sounds like craziness, but I've proven it on videos.
He makes sounds like they do.
I make the sounds they make. I know what they're saying, and I learned when I was deer hunting, I learned how to listen to the blue jays. I learned how to listen to the squirrels. They told me exactly where the deer were at in the woods. I learned how to find snakes. I listened to the birds because the birds will tell you where the snakes are at in the woods so you can kill the snakes.
They want to know, is your owl still around?
Oh yeah. The owls are still around. I talk to him every so often. They fly up and.
It'll be time now that it's cooling off.
Yeah.
Danny and I can sit outside at the cabin more, and things like that are easy to do. You can call them up real easily.
Yeah.
I didn't believe him the first time he told me that.
Yeah, first time I told her, I says, I'd make that owl fly right up. Well, matter of fact, one night I had like 5 of them up here.
They were sitting on our rail of the fence at the corral.
Yeah.
One came in, and after a while, another one came in, and they just kept coming in, and they were just carrying on.
I mean, it was like a orchestra of owls out there. I mean, there was like 5 of them hooting back and forth with me.
And it was really funny because it was the night we were watching something in the sky. There was something going on.
It was a meteor shower or something supposed to be in the sky.
And we didn't know it, but our neighbors across were out too. And a few days later, they said, "Man, we just heard the owls the other night. Said they were just carrying on like crazy." And I said, "Yeah, Danny called them up."
A Bammer says, any more frogs you talking with? Hey, the frogs are gone.
Well, we have little ones that go.
We got little tiny ones that live in the grass, but the frogs that's in the pond are all gone, except for the really big bullfrogs. The bass have cleaned them all up. I mean, literally.
They want to know, have you ever seen Bigfoot?
Have I ever seen Bigfoot? I have been Bigfoot.
Literally.
Literally, I wore the actual Chewbacca suit that was used in Star Wars. I was the only one who was tall enough and big enough to wear this suit, and I actually used it to scare a church group that was camping, and I had to make sure that nobody had a weapon that was there. You know, the pastor and the moderators told me that no one had a weapon on them, and I actually scared the pastor first.
And he knew it was happening, or
no? He had no clue it was happening.
Yeah, okay.
But I just made sure nobody had weapons. Only me and the moderators, one moderator, it wasn't all the moderators, but me and one moderator was the only ones that was in on it. But I actually scared the pastor and his wife, did not tell them any different until church the next day. And then I scared all the group of people that was in the woods camping with the church group. So yeah, and I actually wore the actual suit, and I walked out where they could see me, scared everybody to death. They thought it was Bigfoot.
Then you wore it to church, didn't you?
Then I actually wore it to church. Yes, I wore it in there. I waited till church got started, and I walked in and sat on the back pew with it on.
With the preacher's wife.
I sat right next to the preacher's wife, yes.
Y'all, Danny used to pull some stunts.
I used to pull some stunts now.
Y'all don't know. The man could be crazy.
Yeah, Gail says she remembers that video when I was talking about it. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's.
We have bats. Somebody's asked about bats.
Yes, we have bats. You can see them over the pond every night. They're swooping down over the pond, getting bugs and stuff like that.
And they don't mess with anything so far. We've not noticed them bothering anything. They're part of the ecosystem.
They don't mess with anything around here.
We have all kinds of insects, and insects is something that you have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
Right.
Right now, fire ants is one of our pet peeves.
Fire ants right now seems to be the worst thing we have a problem with.
Oh, they want to know, did you wear a tie with the Chewbacca suit?
No. I actually went into church, sat down beside the preacher's wife, and the pastor was back behind the pulpit back there, and he just stood up and he looked and he said, he just started looking around the congregation, and he stood there for a minute and he said, there's only one person missing out of this congregation, and that is Mr. King. He said, Mr. King, are you the one in that suit? And I unzipped the head and picked it up off of it, and I said, sir, yes, sir, it is me. You know, he said, I might have known that it was you.
Little NC Farmer says they're the organist at their church. I should try that sometime.
Yeah, it's you'd be surprised what will happen. Just make sure nobody's got a weapon, though.
Yes, I did get the email about the swing. I hadn't been out to look at it yet, but I told Danny to remind me tomorrow.
We'll check it.
It looked like in the video that it's crooked a little, but Danny says it's fixed.
It can't come out because I have them bent to where it can't come out, but I will check it tomorrow.
Though. Yeah, thank you, because I didn't notice it. We had just hung the swing back up the day before because of the storms. We had left the pier swing down for about 3 or 4 days.
Okay, Christine, yes, as soon as you get the sugar cane, you need to plant it as soon as you get it. Do not let it dry out. It's waxed on the ends, but you need to put it in the ground. I've got videos on it. You need to be at least 6 or 8 inches deep in the ground.
Plant it long ways.
Yeah.
Don't stand
it up on its end. Plant it flat, laying in the ground. We got videos on it.
Yeah, please go back and watch them. I'm hoping nobody treats it like regular.
Maybe not.
They might.
They might. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for the most part, the insects. Somebody asked about mosquitoes. We don't have. I mean, we have mosquitoes, but Danny and I can sit outside and never really worry about mosquitoes very much. The only time that mosquitoes, they like stagnant water.
Yeah.
And our pond is moving.
Ours is a spring-fed pond. It's constantly moving.
The fish are moving it, so it's not sitting there just stagnant like there's nothing in it. But,
no, we have not sold all of our sugar cane. We'll have plenty more.
It's just that we have to package and get some done and get that taken out before we put it up again, because that way we don't get overwhelmed with hundreds of packages to take to the mailbox.
There's Danny Leslie. Hello.
Hey, Scratch.
Scratch made.
So our goal is about 25 or 30 boxes at a time, because they're heavy and it takes car room.
It takes a lot of car room. Plus, at the post office, we actually are making. We used to ship them in really small boxes. Now we're shipping in a longer box where you get a longer piece of sugar cane. You actually get a better piece of sugar cane.
Some of them are going to be in a shorter box.
There's a couple of them.
Shorter boxes.
We have a couple of short boxes that are going to go out, but most of them are very long pieces.
Yeah, Wanda chose the wrong box this time, but it actually benefits y'all because it does cost us more. I charged $20 for shipping, and it's costing me $21.
Yeah, it's costing more to ship it than what we charge.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, talking about nature with the grand solar minimum coming in and happening the way it is, nature is already kicking in. We're already seeing signs of nature changing. Our leaves are already turning colors here. Our acorns are already falling off on the ground here. The persimmons are all falling. Stuff like this is already happening. This stuff usually don't happen for another couple of weeks. And so we're actually, so far, we're 2, maybe 3 weeks early on a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah. And it's supposed to turn a little bit cooler.
Next week is supposed to be a plunge. We're supposed to go like 15 to 20 degrees cooler than we normally are for this time of year. And any of y'all that's north of us might get a frost.
Yeah, I saw lots of people are saying some have already had a frost.
Yeah, that was from the last cool spell. Yeah.
And then others are expecting it this next week. We're not right now, but anything could happen.
Yeah.
So, somebody said they received their Cherokee tan.
Yeah, Little NC Farmer said they got their Cherokee tans. That's good.
Mutant wants to know.
Do you know the variety of the sugar cane? No, I do not. This sugar cane I have had for years and years, and I got it from an old man who was on his deathbed, and it's just an old variety is all I can tell you.
Can you plant sugarcane in Virginia?
If you're in zone 8 or 7, yes. Most people up north plant sorghum rather than sugarcane. It both makes basically the same thing. It's just that sorghum is more cold tolerant than sugarcane is.
Gossmania said they got their Danny corn and that they wanted to maybe get some sugar cane. Just let us know.
Let us know. You can come here and we just cut the stalks down and we'll get you some.
I noticed that, Danny. We harvested acorns last week. Wow.
Yeah.
That's scratch made. They're in Alabama.
They're in Alabama. Duncan says, Miss Brenda says they're going to have the 30s coming this week.
She's been in the 80s.
Yeah.
I told her Missouri is probably the most bipolar weather I've ever seen where she's at.
Donnie Short said he got some of our sugar cane. Got their fall crops in Friday. Greenhouse has been planted, they said.
Wow. I'm working on my greenhouse. I'm getting it going.
When will we put sugar cane on Etsy again? I don't want to miss it. My son and I are excited about growing it.
Monday
we'll probably put up some more if we can get some more boxes.
Yeah, that's going to be the key because I don't want to put it up and people buy and then I can't get boxes for a while because we're going between 2 different post offices and they both limit me to how many boxes I can get, and I've got to go online and order boxes from USPS, and they usually deliver them within a week. But I'm hoping to get some from the post offices, and I should have done the order yesterday.
Susie Q says, why are people buying stalks of sugarcane and how do they use it? Well, they're buying it so they can plant it, and then they can take it and squeeze it, and they can make their own sugar or their own syrup out of it. Now, we make syrup out of ours.
But most people don't have a way to squeeze it.
So, you can actually peel it, put it in water, and boil it and do the same thing.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. They boil it.
You have to cut it up in smaller pieces and then put it in water and boil it. And it'll work. It's just a little bit longer process.
It's almost like...
Hey, white picket fence.
Let me ask you something. I just had Wanda thought, because I go outside the box. My juicer steamer. Could I put the sugar cane in the juicer steamer, steam it, and make the sweetness in the bottom, and then
Now
cook
that
it down?
that I don't know. We might need to experiment with that,
See,
and we might be able to help our subscribers out and find a new way to make syrup.
We'll see.
We will experiment with that.
I'll put some in the juicer steamer and just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm glad to see
Um,
White Picket Fence came in here. That's
oh,
good to
thank you.
see.
Let's see. Yeah, they're saying never know what the weather's going to be in Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah, we have lots of friends in Missouri, and they're telling us the same exact thing.
But Brenda Duncan, where she lives, seems to be the absolute worst for going from one extreme to the other all in one day.
Well, it's the location of Missouri. Southern Missouri next to Arkansas is really not bad. You get up in the northeastern side of Missouri, and it is really bad.
Brenda, if it's raining, it's raining all the time. If it's snowing all the time. It's like she don't get a break. She goes from high to lows to back to highs. It's crazy.
Dope Heathen said, we grow or used to grow sorghum in Kentucky. Yeah, anything you get above the Mason-Dixon line up in that area up through there, sorghum was the big thing. And it's because it's planted from seed. Sugar cane comes back from actually in the ground. It's a rhizome in the ground every year. And if you're planting from seed, you can plant it. It's an annual harvest. Sugar cane is it's like a perennial, I guess.
Katie Olson.
Still waiting on Cherokee Tan pumpkin seeds since 1st of August. You need to message us because
I have no way of knowing if you don't get something on Etsy. If you don't get it, you have to send me a message, because I had people that didn't get their cookbooks, and I don't know until you send me a message and say I didn't get it. Usually give it 2 to 3 weeks. If stuff hadn't got there in 3 weeks, it's probably lost, and they have lost so much stuff. Cherokee Tan Seeds is one of them. I've had 1 or 2 people over the last 4 months that theirs got lost. So if anybody did not get anything, that was something I meant to say too. Let me know, and if I mix up an order, let me know. But don't feel bad about saying, Wanda, I didn't get this in my order, or Wanda, I got this and it should have been that. Because when you process as many orders as we do, and
yes,
it's late at night and I'm exhausted, I do mix things up occasionally.
Now, broom corn is a little bit different than sorghum. They may be in the same family, but they're a little bit different. Sorghum is strictly used for making sorghum out of. Broom corn, the tops on it is beautiful. I'll say that. But it's used for a lot of different other things.
They want a manual on how to grow cane. You probably should do one of those, because
we've got so many videos up about how to grow sugar cane. But I get it. I probably need to do a book about that.
Do you have a recipe for Christmas limas?
Probably
not. The only way I did Christmas limas was when I just cooked them like I did regular beans. Just seasoned them, boiled them till they were done. Put water in them.
Blue Ridge Pepper says, will you be selling syrup on Etsy?
Not really. We can't.
Probably not. Legally, it's kind of hard for us to do that.
It's starting to get a lot of gray areas with seeds and everything. And so we don't know how long Etsy will really last with the way they're doing the economy. They're gradually fixing to weed out people selling seeds. And so we're just going to have to wait and see. Right now, they're not saying anything to us. We're just going on.
Cul-de-sac Grocery Garden says close to Columbia. So don't just go by tracking info. Check your mail. Lou said she couldn't find any tracking, and then it was just in the mail.
Yeah. Any of the Cherokee Tans that you just order one order, there's no tracking. If there's 2 or more, then there's tracking. On the Danny corn and all that, there's tracking. Books, there's tracking. The only thing that I had an issue with other than that was the cookbooks that I sent off initially. I sent them book rate, and several of them got lost because they of COVID. They got stuck in Atlanta and never made it out of Atlanta. 3 months later, they're still there.
Denise says, "How Wanda? I apologize to you. I did get my cookbook a while ago. Thank you. It's a great cookbook."
Okay. If you send me a message, I'm having somebody said they ordered one a few days ago, and I ordered a cookbook and got it about 3 days. In
Yeah.
about 3 days. Yeah, a lot of people were getting theirs within 3 to 4 days.
Right.
And then I had 3 or 4 people message me, and they did not get theirs 2 weeks later. And I went to checking into it, and every one of them were in Atlanta. They all.
Yeah, well, one of the comments that just went through here said that Atlanta has a lot of thieves in it, so they're in there, they're just taking stuff.
That's possible.
That's quite possible.
So it made it to Atlanta and never left. So I had to. I was out 3, 4 cookbooks. One finally came back. I had one that went all over the country. The lady and I kept tracking it, and it would go here and it would go there. It didn't get stuck in Atlanta, and it kept just bouncing around.
Okay.
And she finally got a new cookbook, and I got the old one back.
Can you plant seed potatoes in 7B ready in December? You can if you can keep them from getting frostbit, but if you can't keep them from getting frostbit, then it won't work. Are butter beans the same as lima beans? That's yes and no. Butter beans are lima beans, but lima beans cover a vast majority of beans. They can be green baby limas, they can be white limas, they can be Christmas limas, they can be the huge speckled butterbean limas. I mean, it's
lima covers a lot.
Lima covers a lot of different beans.
Can a banana tree survive in a wet clay soil area?
It can, but you're going to need to mulch it, and you're going to need to compost it a good bit because it needs a lot of nutrition.
Yeah. Southern Bless said that she loved my cookbook and wanted to buy more as gifts. I have like maybe 2 or 3 left. That's it. Whatever's on Etsy, that's it. I'm done unless I order more. And to order more, I've got to order at least 100. And so I don't know if I have that many people that want to buy a cookbook left, because I've sold over 600 cookbooks, right at 600. I think it's right under 600 cookbooks right now. And I sold most of them in the first month. So I thought that was pretty good. And it's slowed down now. So I think, most everybody's got a cookbook. If I happen to have quite a few people send me messages and say I want cookbooks, then I will order again. But as of right now, the 2 or 3 that's on Etsy, and I'm done for a while.
Yeah. We have done past our 9 o'clock time.
Thank you, Never Enough Time. She said she got her cookbook.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Wasps are lower on the nest this year, and
that's usually a sign that we're going to have a cold, cold winter. When that happens, that's what my elderly neighbor told me before he passed away.
Cookbooks are a hot commodity on the black market. I don't know about that. Before I forget it, if any of you haven't watched my Crazy Days video today, I did a giveaway over there. If you want to be in on it, you got to go over there and watch it. I'm going to give away a year subscription to Mother Earth News. So I got a little card in Danny's, and I thought that's a good giveaway.
Okay, Brad, I haven't checked the percentage yet here. Gail says that wants to pray for their friend in critical condition. We had a gentleman contact us, I'm not going to call a name, contacted us last Saturday and asked us would we pray for him because he has some problems in his life. And then we didn't get to go live. I did still pray for him. So, if you're watching, I'm not going to call your name, but just know that we are going to pray for you tonight. I haven't forgotten. When people send me a message, I definitely keep up with it. And we have been praying for you that you have power to overcome this problem that you're dealing with. Glenn says, Oline says, can't send seeds in the mail. Why? It's becoming illegal to mail seeds.
Right now, they're not saying anything, but when these Chinese seeds started popping up in everybody's mailboxes, they are looking into putting regulations on who sells seeds, which
Yeah.
means your big companies will start selling seeds, and anybody like us that just sells seeds because we grew them would probably be told we can't do it because they're already, that's why we did not sell sweet potato slips this year. We intended to, but we were told that it's illegal in Mississippi to send sweet potato slips to anybody. So we didn't go there because we didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we got to jump off of here. We got a few things we still have to do before we actually go to bed tonight. And plus, a lot of y'all are on Eastern time, so it's already after 10 o'clock for y'all. So we do want to keep in prayer our country. We have a lot of crazy stuff going on. I don't even want to think about it really. I mean, the people of this nation have gone stark raving nuts. We want to pray about this new Supreme Court person that Trump has elected, Ms. Coney. I think that there's probably going to be some stink about that before it's all over with. We need to keep that in prayer because it doesn't matter. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter if she's elected or not.
They're going to ridicule her.
The other side has said we'll change the Supreme Court from 9 to 15 if we get control of everything. They've also said, well, we'll put term limits on them if you do this. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's tit for tat. You know, I mean, it's just a game for them people up there, and you know, it's just sad that it has to be that way. But to talk about changing the Constitution, doing this, doing that, and guys, we're fixed to be in for a rough ride. You know, I mean, if you want to hear about some of this stuff, you can join us over on Patreon where we can talk about it.
Danny's going to do another video this week, but we've been busy.
We've been really busy this week. Yeah.
We're not even processing a lot of the things we hear. We see it and we're tired and we go to bed. He gets up, he starts working during the day. He turns on the internet for a few minutes. He reads through it. He doesn't have time to just sit and process right now. Somebody saying, Jareth, that reap what you sow is sick.
That's right. I did hear that. Yes, I did hear that.
The tinker's wife in Portland, they're riding up there again.
Yep.
Zach, he's in ICU. That's Jan's friend. The country needs prayers, of course.
Emily said she sent a message in y'all's last video about prayer. Yes.
And let's see what else. I guess they're talking about the tinker's wife. They're facing a tough time ahead. Yeah. If you live in these areas that are rioting, yes, you are looking at some really tough times. Pray for my daughter.
Test negative for you know what, and okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because she was exposed.
Yeah, the CV.
Riots are ramping up in Charleston,
South Carolina tonight again.
Wow.
Guys, I'm telling you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have not seen the worst yet. It's going to get bad. And it hurts. It hurts me for everybody around. But you know what? I can't stop it.
Any idea how Miss Lippy is? Miss Lippy is doing good right now.
She was on here tonight one time. What?
Buddy was.
Oh, Buddy was. Okay.
Miss Lippy turned her internet off to save money because she is going. I guess if she don't mind me saying, I don't know. Anyway, they're moving to Kentucky. She's done told y'all she's moving to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And y'all just pray that her house sells and that she gets to Kentucky shortly because she's only got her phone internet and she's limited. And so she's not on here tonight because she don't want to run her phone down.
Right.
So y'all just keep praying that her house is gone. She's headed to Kentucky and everything's going to be fine and dandy. And then,
well, I mean, let's stop and think about it. We actually have several people that we know of that's looking for homesteads.
Oh yeah,
a lot of them's on here tonight, and and we need to pray for them because I mean
time is getting short.
Time is getting very short, and they need to be on a place where they can be settled in as quickly as possible.
And that's something that you know, we've been praying for a lot of people. Scratch Mate's perfect example. They about 3 years or so ago,
Yeah,
they were selling their home and they already had a homestead. They didn't
right.
have to look. They just needed their
They
home
just
sold,
needed the home
and
sold
it
where they
took
could
a
get to
while.
it. And it took a little while to get there and get it
And
done, but it happened.
now their homestead is just booming and going. They've got a lot going on there, and it's nice that they finally got there. But selling a house is really tough right now. So you got to be. But now I don't know. Some places is just selling like crazy.
Well, some
You
places
know, they're
we
just
Wanda and I keep up with land sales in lots of different places, and we realized we could go back and look at the portfolio of these different realtors, and a house can go on a market in certain places in the United States, and within a day it's already sold. And it doesn't matter the amount of money. I mean, we've seen them up to $1 million, and they just sell as fast as they get on the site. You know.
yeah. So a lot of these places are going really really fast. They were saying I heard this today. There was a prayer day in Washington D.C. and you can watch it on the return.org, I think is what Gail's saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying it was totally amazing. Jonathan Kahn and a whole bunch of people were there in Washington D.C. and they said it was really something to behold.
Yeah, and I think praying for people who want a homestead is probably going to be one of the biggest prayers right now that we can probably. I mean, because
And
people are trying to get out of the city as hard as they can.
Yeah.
And there's limited rural properties that are actually.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, Vicky says people are flooding to the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. We have noticed that.
It seems like most anybody that wants to go somewhere is going to Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee,
Kentucky, all these places up in the hill country.
Yeah, that's basically. So at some point, y'all are going to be overrun. You know, if all the land keeps selling, people keep moving, you're going to. I pray that they don't do what they did here and break it up in 10-acre plots.
Yeah.
You know,
that's going to be the thing. Yeah.
As long as you can get these.
Well, the big thing is if people
land.
from the city move to the country, don't take the city with you to the country. That's where you get into trouble at. Country people have their way of living, and when city people bring city to the country, that's when you start having problems in the country. So just be aware of that. Okay, we got to get off here. We done been on here 16 minutes beyond our limit. So guys, we're gonna take the time and we're gonna go ahead and pray. Father, we thank you for loving us. Thank you for your patience with us, because wow. Sometimes we just get off out there in left field, and you're just very patient with us. You give us time to meander around and come back and climb back up on that easel and say, Lord, can you straighten us out? Can you repaint us and fix up the places that we messed up at? And thank you that you're patient with us all the time, and you're always good to us. Even though sometimes it seems like it's bad to us many times, it usually in the long run ends up being what was best for us anyway. And Father, tonight I want to start out. I want to pray. We have an individual that contacted us and said they were having some issues in their life, and asked us to pray for them about those issues in their life, some addictions and some problems. And Father, we're going to pray for them right now that in the name of Jesus, that these things can be broken and that they can be an overcomer, and that they'll be able to put these problems behind them forever, Lord. And we know you can make this happen, Father, so we're asking that you do that for them. Lord, I saw people here tonight said that they had cancer or they had loved ones who had cancer. Father, spouses that had cancer. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke the cancer in their body, and I ask for them to have healing in their bodies, Father. And Lord, we have people here tonight who have mentioned that some of them have the modern disease problem that we're going through here. I pray in the name of Jesus that their tests come back negative, that they don't have any problems, and that it's actually all just negative, Father. No problems whatsoever. And Lord, people here tonight have said that there's protesters starting to get bad where they live at. And Father, I pray for protection for them. I pray that you put down all of these protesters and put them behind you. And Lord, and protect your children that are in those areas. Don't let any harm come nigh unto their dwelling place. And Father, I pray for our nation. I pray for the leaders of our country as they try to make decisions. I pray that you give them wisdom, Father. I pray you weed out the tares from among the wheat, and help that and pray that the ones that are spiritual can thrive, and that they can do well, and they can lead us in the right direction, Father. Lord, all of those out there that's under the sound of my voice that is looking for a homestead, that has bought a homestead and just trying to get to it, trying to get out of the city, trying to sell their house, trying to get out of suburbia or whatever it is, Father, I pray in the name of Jesus that you raise up a place for them, a place of safety, a place of solitude, a place of prosperity. Make it a Goshen for them, Lord, so that wherever they're at, everything flourishes and that they do very well where they end up at. Lord, we pray for those that are trying to sell their homes that they'll be able to find a buyer will just amazingly just appear and come out of nowhere and want it so fast that they don't even have time to get the paperwork done. We know you can make these things happen, Father. And Lord, those that don't feel good here tonight, those that have other issues that's and have prayer requests that's too intimate to even mention on here, Father, the unspoken. We pray for those tonight also that you would answer them and do it in a way, Father, that will glorify you and will bless the people at the same time. Now go with us tonight, Lord. Grant us the blessings of obedience here tonight, Father. Bless the work of our hands so that whatever we touch may prosper, and give us a wonderful night's rest that we might be able to rise tomorrow to do the things that are in accordance to thy will. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I wanted to
Okay.
mention one thing I forgot. It finally popped in my head again. I'm going to be participating in a collaboration with a whole bunch of friends that I did a collab first, our first collab.
Oh, okay.
The Frugal Family Food, only it's not the Frugal Family Food this time. It is called Croctober. All during the month of October, a whole bunch of channels. I think there's about 20, 25 channels joining in with Amanda from, it used to be The Fundamental Home. Now she's The Bills because that's their last name. She's changed her name. Tangi, who was the caver's wife, who's now Freedom Homestead. They're doing crock pot and Instapot all during the month of October. And my video will be up like the 21st, I think. But they'll have a playlist and they're going to have a Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, I think it'll go live maybe on October 1st. And you can join it. They will give you recipes and ideas for crock pots. And they're going to be giving away a large crock pot, a small crock pot, and I'm not sure what all, but I do know those two things during the month. So if y'all want to, they're going to give something away every week. And so I'm glad to be back with Tangi and Amanda again. And let's see, I can't remember. There's a whole bunch of people in there. So y'all just check out Croctober on Facebook shortly and check out the Bills. She will have a playlist.
Okay. All right, guys. You all have a blessed night, and we will see you in the very next video. Thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.